Welcome to part 3 of Sapphire Builder Essentials. From the previous video, you know how to apply individual Sapphire filters to a shot. So how does Sapphire Builder build onto what you already know? Well, Builder is all about using individual Sapphire filters as building blocks for bigger effects. We can solve bigger challenges, create custom-built presets, and then share them with everyone. So you can combine multiple Sapphire filters in an easy-to-use environment, which, by the way, works with all supported hosts. You can also limit what controls appear in the host with a simple checkbox, and this has significant benefits. For instance, you can standardize your design when working on a series or campaign, but allow for artistic adjustments with the preset. So you, other artists, or even an assistant can make tweaks to the preset, but without needing to know Builder. This makes it easier for everyone to use, and your visual look remains consistent. With all that said, let's jump right in and learn how to use Sapphire Builder. Sapphire Builder comes in two flavors. S-Effect is for clip-based effects, and S-Transition is for transitions between two shots. There are a couple of differences, but for now, we'll mainly be focusing on S-Effect. S-Transition will be covered towards the end of this series. Now, like any Sapphire filter, irrespective of the host, you apply the S-Effect to your shot. Looking at the effects controls, you can load and save presets, edit the effect, set up your mask and background inputs, and access bokeh planar tracking. There are no parameter controls, like other Sapphire filters, and the look of your shot has not changed. At this point, you can do one of two actions. You can edit the effect from scratch, or you can load a preset. Loading presets is usually a great place to start. Now, if you've used the Sapphire preset browser with any other Sapphire filter, one key difference is that this preset browser shows every preset in the Sapphire collection. So you can look at all the blur presets, or you can look at all the color correction presets, and so on. With literally thousands of presets, you also have the ability to filter and search for what you need. It's also handy to be able to preview presets before applying them. We'll dig into the presets browser in much more detail in a future video, but for now, you can load this onto a clip. Now, with the Builder preset loaded, you will see a few new parameters specific to this preset. These are not the same as if I had just added 3 filters one after the other. As I mentioned earlier, you can choose what parameters are made available in your host. So you can hand this preset over to another artist or less experienced junior, and it's easy to see what are the important parameters to change. All the options are there to suit your workflow. Now let's jump into Builder and look at the interface and some basic operations to get you started. Towards the top of the S effect in the Controls panel, choose to edit the effect. The Sapphire Builder interface launches, and you are presented with 4 sections. The most obvious section is the viewer. You can see the overall result of your effect or specific parts of your effect. Beneath the viewer, you have a section known as the workspace. This simple but very powerful node tree helps you build your effect in different ways, unlike simply stacking them in an editing host. In terms of media coming into Builder, you have your source, which is the clip that has the S-Effect filter applied to it. And then you have 2 auxiliary inputs for more advanced effects creation. There is an external background input, which could be other video layers or shots. And there is an external mask input for any mats or masks that you may have made or imported into your host. Please don't worry about these for now. As for what goes back to your host, you simply have a single output, and that is it. Whatever is built between your input and output is your custom creation. As a great tip, if you want to pan and zoom the workspace as you work, you will find the shortcuts mentioned at the bottom of the interface. The options vary if you're using a mouse, touchpad, or pen and tablet. Now, you don't get any options when selecting inputs and output. However, selecting any of the other nodes in the workspace will bring up their controls in the Selection Parameters panel. This is an easy way to move between the controls for each filter you're using. As for making adjustments, you have sliders, value adjustments, checkboxes, and some animation controls. The final section in the Builder interface is the Components panel on the left side. This panel contains all the Sapphire filters. These are sorted as groups by default, but you can flatten out the list and sort alphabetically. The Components section also lets you filter effects by name, and if you have one that you use all the time, simply click the star to set it as your favorite, and it'll always be at the top of the list. So these are the 4 different sections that make up Sapphire Builder. Now, before we conclude this video, one of the most obvious questions is, how do you add nodes into the workspace? Well, there are multiple ways, but here are my top 3. Number 1, drag and drop. You can drag a filter and drop it either on the viewer or on a connection in the workspace. Both choices take care of the connections for you. Just be aware that if you drop a filter anywhere else in the workspace, the filter will appear, but then you have to manually connect it up. Number 2, the double-click method. This is a context-sensitive operation whereby if nothing else is selected, the new filter node is inserted at the end of the node tree. Great for stacking up effects one after the next. But if you want to add a filter between connected nodes, select the node where you want the filter to come next, and then double-click on the filter. Finally, number 3, also context-sensitive, but requires no interaction with the Components panel. Just select a node and press Tab. You'll get a floating window, and you can type your chosen filter. This will insert your new filter after the selected node, but if nothing is selected, the tab workflow will insert new nodes at the end of the node tree before the result node. So that's a little taster of interacting with the workspace in Builder. In the next video, we'll look at different workflows of combining nodes in the workspace, which creates different visual results depending on how you connect the filters. See you in the next video.